Valentine Mackay is a creative media and film student in his senior year at Northern Arizona University. This past holiday break, he and his parent were evicted from their apartment and had no other choice than to move in with family down in Phoenix. Due to this, his last semester ever is online and over 100 miles away from his peers.
NAU was definitely a up and down kind of experience, but it was definitely fun until this last year when we unfortunately were evicted by our apartment complex. Oakwood Village Apartments, it was like 5-10 minutes away from school. We liked it at first. It seemed very nice looking, but we just started to learn more and more how messed up the apartment complex really is.
Things were good for a long time. It was fine. It wasn't until they did that inspection of the apartment complex and decided that the apartment complex was worth more. This apartment complex was a sliding scale kind of place. They were supposed to be working with my income, and my income was very meager. With Social Security, it's very fixed. Them deciding out of nowhere to jack it up $100 completely wrecked me, and within a month, we were evicted.
It was in the same months that we couldn't pay the rent, we were evicted, and they weren't able to work with us at all. We knew from then that things were gonna go downhill from there.
Here at Northern Arizona University, there are about 6,000 students living on campus.
So that's what we're going to take a look at today, residence life, on this edition of NAU On the Move.
According to a 2018 survey published by the National Library of Medicine, 1/3 of undergraduate students experience housing insecurities. College students who experience housing, food, and financial insecurities are more likely to develop anxiety and/or depression, have poor health, and a lower GPA. Students are less likely to finish their degree when facing homelessness.
It just seemed aggressive. They push you through these complicated legal processes with no help whatsoever. Tried to get as much as we could out of that apartment. It was everything. I mean, I lost all my furniture, beds, TVs, clothes, kitchen tables, my Keurig. We only had my Dodge Journey. I didn't have time or funding to get a truck or anything, and I only had 4 days.
We were definitely sad a lot of the days. It was definitely hard on our mental health for sure, especially for me being a homeless trans person. I was thinking it would make me a target, so it was definitely scary.
According to the National Center for Transgender Equality, 1 in 5 transgender people in the U.S. are discriminated against when seeking housing, and more than 1 in 10 have been evicted from their homes due to their gender identity. An estimated 20 to 40% of the 1.6 million homeless youth in America identify as transgender or LGBTQ+.
NAU in particularly, homeless students or students that become homeless while they're in their care, it isn't a huge thing, I'm sure, but it's a big enough thing that I think that it should be addressed. And they should try to do things. We talked about getting a dorm and emptying it out to give kids space in case they need it.
They were a little bit helpful. They were offering me resources for here, and then also they were really helpful with getting my schedule reorganized so that I could do my last semester down here online.
He'll still graduate and he'll still get the grades he needed, but if he could have stayed up there, he would have been able to work with and do his capstone up there with the kids he went through school with. And the fact that he couldn't do that just sucked.
I was really looking forward to being able to produce my own film for my capstone, and that didn't work out because of this whole situation. I was very sad about it. It's definitely been hard on me creatively because I don't have as much access to the equipment anymore as I did when I was up there. We got one DSLR camera, and that's pretty much it.
There is a direct correlation between the imagination and living in poverty. A 2020 research paper published in the Ohio State Law Journal explains that poverty harms the brain and interferes with decision-making processes in ways that hinder one's ability to think and act creatively.
Right now, I live with my grandma and we have 3 animals. We can't exactly stay there, so we're working on savings and making sure that we can move out as soon as possible, find a little apartment.
And that's what we're going to do. I'm going to try to find a low-income housing place down here that's hopefully better than that one was. I struggle with feeling like a failure pretty much all the time anyway. And raising my son was the biggest thing I was proud of. He was on the lease. He's an adult. He had to be. So this eviction is on his record. The kid hasn't even moved out from his mom yet. This was completely out of his control. There was nothing he could do here. He deserves the help.